Hey, I'm here at 10th Planet Austin with my buddy Cody Hoffstatter. We just had an MMA class. Cody talked about a couple concepts that I just want to go over really quickly, which are the A, B, C range, which was striking distance, at distance, boxing distance, clinch distance, and then the blitzing concept you talked about as well. If you could expand on that, just as you did right now.
Yeah, so the majority of strikers, whether they come from a boxing or a kickboxing background, normally engage in combat at a certain distance. And this is what we call the B range or the boxing range. And it's basically close enough to where you can reach out and touch the person either with your hands or your feet. Because of the variables, because of the amount of attacks in MMA, you have to deal with like flying side kicks, with Imanari rolls, with blast doubles, with low singles from the outside. Because of all the crazy things that you can encounter in an MMA range, and because of how quickly those small gloves come, the majority of the striking in MMA will be at an outside range, to where both partners are far enough away from each other that if both were to stick out their legs, they couldn't touch feet. And because of this increased distance between the two partners, between the two opponents, it requires a certain specific type of footwork. And so today we went over the spring step as well as the switch step, and we took some time to drill the steps, and then we did it with a partner just to get the repetitions and to be able to identify when we were in the range, when we were too close, and maybe even when we were too far away. In my experience in teaching this new range is everybody kind of goes back to the B range, because that's where the majority of boxing or kickboxing is drilled at, and that's where the majority of boxing or kickboxing is trained at. And I've trained, I fought with boxing world champions and kickboxing world champions and guys who on paper were way better than me, but by using this footwork and by using the correct distance, I was able to hit them and not get hit on somebody who's a better striker than me.
Yeah, the fascinating concept of that I felt like we went over today was that blitzing range of using that footwork to get in tight and then to create damage. And then lastly, you executed on the overhand into the takedown, which reminded me of, DC was doing it the opposite way. He was going for the takedown and coming for the overhand, and it felt like a similar concept of, it just felt super natural. So to go over those blitzing concepts and then to actually hear you talk about ABC range as like a bit of a newbie was, interesting, and then I thought would be great to be expounded upon. So thank you.
Yeah. Regarding the blitz, it's we're basically just running forward and punching at the same time.
Getting the head off level, off the center line though too, and just that part as well.
And it's kind of a gambit to attack somebody so offensively, but I taught the blitz today in the context of if your opponent's moving backwards.
Yeah.
Rarely do you have to worry about taking a hard shot while your opponent's moving backwards. And so that's where we use the blitz footwork. And anytime you're mixing in overhands with takedowns, it's a great combination, because a takedown requires a level change. And you can level change and throw your overhand, or you can level change and do your takedown. But it's the old mixing up the dilemma of high, low, high, low. You fake low, you go high. You fake high, you go low. You make them think you're going low, you go high, then you go low. So it's just using these age-old tactics of combat in a new modern way.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Put your dukes up, guys. So this is the B range I was talking about earlier, where most people are used to engaging in combat. Take a step back from me, Kate. This is the A range, what we call outside range. This is what I want all of my MMA fighters to get used to fighting at. To bridge the gap, to close the distance, I recommend either a spring step or a switch step. Demonstrate a spring step for me, please, Dave. Boom, a spring step or a switch step. A way to use our footwork and straight punches to bridge that gap. Let me have both of you move over here, please. Now, stay over here, Nick. Closer, please. Now, when Cade bridges that distance, Nick is going to start backing up. This is where we implement our blitz, stepping through and punching, really putting the forward pressure, knowing that Cade can step forward faster, further than Nick can step backwards. One more time. Spring steps into the blitz, okay? From there, after we have our opponent moving backwards and we're putting fists in his face and we're changing our targets using both straights and overhands, then we can use our blitz to set up a takedown. So he starts by closing the distance, spring step, he blitzes him, and then he uses the angle he created from the blitz to get a takedown. One more time, take him down, make it a good one. Spring step, blitz, into the takedown.